6 o'clock. I will call the Allegan City Council meeting to order. Could I please have roll call?
Councilmember Clark. Councilmember Westover.
Present.
Councilmember Walker. Here. Councilmember Canales. Here. Councilmember Hooker.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Hands.
Present.
Mayor Perigo.
I am here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you.
I did not hear from Councilmember Clark. Has anyone heard from him?
I have not either.
Yeah. Checking my email. Yeah, I don't see anything.
All right. I will move down to agenda item number 3, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're able, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Agenda item number 4 is approval of April 27, 2026 agenda. There is an amendment, so if I could get a motion to approve the council agenda with that amendment.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 5A is approval of the special council meeting minutes from April 8th, 2026. I do not see any corrections, so could I don't know of any corrections. If there are, otherwise, could I get a motion to approve as is?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 5B, approval of the special council meeting minutes from April 9th, 2026. I am not aware of any corrections. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion for the April 9th meeting minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 5C is approval of the regular council meeting minutes from April 13th, 2026. Same thing, I'm not aware of any corrections.
Make a motion that we approve the council meeting minutes from April 13th.
Thank you.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, next agenda item is number 10, which is public comment. If you have a public comment for this evening, please state your name and address and approach the podium. All right, I see no public comment. I'm going to move down to the next agenda item, which is 13C. 13C1 is a request to approve PO 260854 to Komline Harn in the amount of $144,751 for the replacement of the Reverse Osmosis number 3 membranes at the water treatment plant.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to invite Chad Fulton up to the podium. Chad Fulton is our water treatment plant manager. He's been with the city for several years. He's been in this role for about 2 months. Thank you, Chad.
Hello, everybody. I brought a cutaway of a membrane. And this is a couple pieces of the bearing that failed, which is why we need the membranes replaced. That bearing failure happened in late September, and since then, we have 3 RO skids. We're running on 2. When Paragos fires up or we have any high demand, we run on 2 skids, so we don't have any redundancy right now. So in the event of one more skid breaking down, we're kind of in trouble, so.
Does anybody have any questions for Chad?
I had one. Did we have any strainers between the pumps and the membranes to try to capture if we have another issue like this, if another pump's bearing decides to?
No, there isn't.
Do they have any suggestions for that, or is there just no strainers that can handle that high pressure?
I don't believe that there was any suggestions made. I can inquire about that.
Yeah, if you can
and
inquire,
get back
just-
to you for sure, yeah,
Just be like if
yeah,
something breaks out of the pumps or out
For
of the
sure.
lines, wouldn't be bad to protect our membranes.
yes.
Any other questions?
Could you say that again about the quantity of the, so what about that with Payroll?
So there's 3 skids.
Yeah.
There's number of times in the day that we run 2 wells with 2 skids, depending on the usage and the demand. Even in the winter months, sometimes we'll run 2 skids. It's very random. With Paragos, for instance, if they're running a big load or something, then there's demand. And with summer coming and watering, then we're definitely going to be using more water than average. So if one of the other trains breaks down, we're kind of in trouble.
Any other questions?
So is there any maintenance that can be done to help keep this from getting this severe in the future?
There's a cleaning, and that cleaning, to my knowledge, like I said, I've only been there, Joel said, 2 months. I'm not sure the frequency of the cleaning. It's a clean in place. But as far as maintenance, that pump is like, it's beneath a 600-pound motor, and that's,
Can't just pick that up and
no.
hold it?
So I don't know as far as the inspection goes on that. The pump, you know, it's been a long time that this has been down, but the pump recently got put back in place.
Okay.
We put the motor back on, and there's a vibration, an unsafe vibration. They can't field balance that motor, so that motor has to be removed and sent to Repay to get completely tore down with new bearings installed. So when the motor's put back on the pump, then we can proceed with the membrane replacement and fire that skid back up.
Yeah. One thing I would just point council's attention to in the report, this is on page 12 of your packet. These membranes, their use of life is about 10 years with extensive cleaning of the actual membranes.
Right.
Not cleaning of the pump and the bearings that broke. We're going on 15 years. So we're already at that point. This is why we have an asset management plan for our water treatment plants. This is why we set money aside every year, because we know eventually this stuff's going to happen. And this is just something that's happened. The screening idea, can we put something up between this stuff breaking and then shooting into here? Yeah, as Chad mentioned, we'll look into that.
For sure.
I mean, just to see if there's something in there that could, stop that. But we have been very thankful that, this filter has lasted as long as it has. And, I appreciate the show and tell and being able to touch this and so you guys can see the number of rings, what this filter is. But the image on the screen shows you the size.
That's one skid.
That's one
One
skid.
of 3, yes.
So it kind of introduces you to the length and the depth of this project.
How quickly can you get the replacement?
You know, I'm
and
not sure,
installed?
I don't
I'm just
recall
curious.
seeing in the bid. I don't know as far as scheduling
Okay,
goes.
that's
I'm
fine. I was
sorry.
just curious of how quickly,
Hopefully quick.
I was gonna say, it's not like it's a part that we wanna keep
Right.
in inventory at
Right.
that cost,
No,
but
for sure,
yeah,
no.
we don't, wanna wait 6-8 weeks for
Yes,
something.
yes, I'm looking at the bid, and this is on page 14 at the very bottom.
Does it say?
Current lead time is 4 to 6 weeks if membrane elements are not in stock at time of order.
Okay.
So as soon as you guys approve this, Chad and his team will, process the purchase order probably tomorrow morning, and then hopefully it's in stock and they're making its way up here. If it's not, we're looking 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
I think the last question I have, which I brought up before, was vibration monitoring for both the water treatment plant and the sewer treatment plant. I know I'd asked about it before, and somebody said that they'd start looking into it again to see what we'd want to do if we had some way of actually set up a vibration monitoring system for some of our big assets there to detect when bearings are starting to go, so that we can preemptively shut it down or know when it's time to
Right.
check them
We
before
do
they.
have, we do have some on some of the high and low pressure pumps, but on those feed pumps, to my knowledge, there isn't any.
It was something I'd brought up before to kind of look, there's newer systems out there that are
Sure.
wireless and newer type of systems
Right.
that can be implemented, just, we'd have to get a cost and see what it kind of,
Right.
and if what benefit we'd have, and be something maybe to look in the future into our asset plans and asset management.
Zach did tell me that he was told that bearing failed from water hammer. So I asked him why we had the water hammer, and he said that one of the phases didn't mesh somewhere in the system. It was, so, I don't know. I don't know that he knows exactly, but that's the conclusion that he was told.
Probably it's on a VFD, I'd assume, so could be a VFD drive issue.
Could be.
So with the other two pumps, do you know the age of the membranes on those?
They are
Yeah, I believe,
15,
yeah,
pushing
they're
15
all
years.
part of the 2010.
They're all the
yeah.
same, yes.
We haven't replaced any of the filters in this, in our plant
No.
out there since it's been constructed, which is 2010 to 2012 was the water treatment plant construction project.
I got you. Well, that's definitely something we should be
Yeah.
continuing to
Yeah.
plan for.
Again, this is why we do the asset management plan at the water treatment plant. And you see a line item in your budget, and it's a big line item, but there's a reason why every year we just put money into it, because we know
Cover this stuff.
Something's
that
gonna
comes
happen.
up. Yep.
similar to owning a house. You have a capital improvement fund, because eventually your furnace is gonna go out, or your
Bless you.
roof's gonna start leaking, or your dishwasher's gonna break.
Yep. Any other questions? No? All right, could I get a motion to approve PO 26-0854?
Support, or so moved.
All right, we made the motion and we got support. Okay. Any other comments from council? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, and next up is 13D1, which is a request to approve the proposed revisions to the city's leaf and brush collection policy for 2026.
Yes, like last time, when we brought this to you at your, it was your last meeting in March, Jeff and I will kind of tag team any questions that you may have. But as it currently operates, the City of Allegan offers a year-round yard waste drop-off at the Department of Public Works to city residents at no charge. They can be dropped off 24/7. There's a big pile of leaves and brush outside of the fenced-in area so that folks can utilize that at any point. We also offer a spring curbside leaf and brush collection at no charge. That happens generally the first week of May through generally the first week of April through generally the first week of May. Obviously, that's all weather dependent. And then in the fall, we offer a leaf pickup that begins around the second week of October and lasts until about the first week of December, once again, weather permitting. And then in between that time frame, right now, there is a brush-only curbside pickup that happens generally the first week of each month. At your previous meeting where we had this discussion, there was the proposal to eliminate that summertime pickup. That would do a couple of things: alleviate staff to accomplish more projects, and also prevent just the accumulation of sticks and debris on the side of the roads throughout town. It was at that point that the council suggested a pivot and do kind of a prepaid request for a collection. So that is what proposal we have in front of you tonight, is to consider that at a $30 price point. Calling City Hall, scheduling that pickup, kind of getting a ticket, and then that gets placed on the DPW's radar to go and pick up after that $30 payment has been made for, and we'll call it an off-season collection.
Are there any comments, questions from council?
Only, I think if we go forward with this, we'd want to give new notice to the city residents through our billing, our email, through our website, social media of this change, as well as also noting there, like, after a storm, yes, we're still going to come out and collect as part of that notice to say, isn't saying we're not collecting at all during the summer, it's just, it's only after storms and on demand, paid demand. Otherwise, our city center's open all the time. So that was my only thoughts on it.
And could we request like that it's on the front page when you go to the website? Because it's really hard to find on the utilities page. So like maybe like, when you first go to the Allegan website, like something that pops up at least for a while because of the
Yeah,
change.
yep, we do have a pop-up feature that we can utilize on there, for sure.
Any other comments? No. After thinking about this some more, since the planning time, I'm hearing manpower is one of the reasons why we're doing this, having brush accumulate. And $30 may not seem like a lot to people, but it is, and I feel like we continuously, it's something little, again, that we're taking away from residents. And with the rising costs of everything, and if we don't want to have sticks accumulate, we could still have these scheduled times, and then outside those times, why can't a resident just call and ask for a pickup then? And then manpower can be scheduled around that time. Is just an alternative that I'm throwing out there instead of charging. It just is very confusing. I'm confused by this. And I think since I've been on council, this policy has changed more than once, more than twice. I've lost count of how many times. So I'm not sure who this is benefiting, except for the residents are losing again. So that's just my thought. But anybody else?
My only, that's possible. I just thought a nominal fee's fine with me, but either way, I think it has to change because having our staff going out, driving around the whole city every first week of the month to find these brush piles is not the most efficient use of their time.
It's, what is it, 4.2?
Yeah.
29 miles of road.
Yeah, 29
29
miles.
miles.
29 miles of road.
All right.
If
With,
that
with a handful of cul-de-sacs being built into it, so it's not a three-point turns pulling a trailer.
takes them, a good amount of time just to go look for it, and so now it's just a hunt, and maybe there's something there, maybe it's not, and sometimes a complete waste of their time if there's nothing out there. And I don't want to waste our staff's time
Well,
either.
could they call and schedule?
That's what I mean.
Not
I'm
be-
fine with the call and schedule as well, but I thought a monetary is fine as well. Either way, I just think something's got to change, because if they're not really being utilized and they're just going out there and not using their time to their best, where they could be taking care of mowing the fields, patching the roads, the things that, we need to do, hot patching, and if they're having to do other things, it takes them away from the things
And
that we
mowing
need.
a field that very few city residents use.
Yeah. Well, not just mowing the field, but today I found out that the Suling fountain that the city decided to install back in the mid-2000s has a possible.
I think
water-
98.
Okay, late 90s, has a possible water leak. So I have to put 2 staff members on that to figure out why Suling Fountain is, that's at
It's
the.
up on the top
Bond
of
and
Marshall
Marshall.
Street Hall, or
Yep.
Marshall Street Road Hall.
So just, so I just want to make sure, staff understands what's being said, is you're okay with the design of the program with summer pickup being on call minus a fee?
Right, because if the concern is manpower, and I understand that, so let residents call and have it scheduled instead of charging them. Then that way you,
I support that.
then, manpower can be scheduled around that.
Yeah. I think the fee's in there because at the last meeting, the council said, add a small
Yeah,
fee.
and I'm not
Yeah.
saying that staff is presenting something that council wasn't, at that time, just off the cuff, but now we're here to talk about it and make a decision, so I wanted to talk about it and share how I felt about that.
So a sign, would we have it where at no charge, they could call and say, okay, Friday is the day, and anyone who calls during that time, it's gonna be Friday.
So, well, I don't want to put a day onto things right now because we could be laying a new sidewalk along Academy that week. And we don't have any staff to send out to go pick up sticks because they're doing Academy because that sidewalk
Yeah.
has to be poured. But it would be something like where they would just call in and we create a work order and we would, get out there as soon as we can.
And we had talked this morning in our department head meeting, like a 3 to 5 business day,
Turnaround.
you know,
And
turnaround
that's fair.
time.
Yeah,
yeah.
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 I mean,
Well,
otherwise
what we
it
don't
would-
want is for it to stay out there for a month and have what we have right now, where there's just piles of sticks at the road's edge for 4 consecutive weeks.
I don't want to, Jeff, your staff is great, and I get it, time is
Yeah.
a problem. But I had leaves out there since November that finally just got picked up. You know, so it's like, I don't know what the right answer
Yep.
is either to help coordinate with staffing. I just, the $30, the more I thought about it, I went, you know what, it's a nominal amount, but for somebody else, it's not nominal, you know, and we're just being nickeled and dimed, everyone is right now. And so that's a sticking point for me.
I have one more question. So I'm assuming if this is new, there's going to be like some leeway time and stuff, but will this be something like that would also go into ordinance violations? Like if someone is putting their sticks out there all summer long and they haven't called in? you know,
Correct, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They would just get a letter, that I'm sure the code enforcement letter would be worded as, hey, you have brush by the roadside, please contact City Hall to schedule a pickup. And then when we go back out there in 10 days, if they haven't make the phone call, they say you got brush by the roadside, you can't do this. Fix it.
Or wait till a storm comes.
So, with the storm question,
Tracy.
with the storm question, I think council should have a conversation on what constitutes a storm. If a storm blows through and it knocks one twig off my tree, can I throw that twig out at the roadside, the curbside, or are you guys talking about where we have downed trees throughout the city, like what Otsego and Plainville just experienced?
Yeah, that was going to be my other question, like, do we designate, like, it has to be a severe thunderstorm or worse, where there's high winds, because, yeah, like, anytime it rains, we might be seeing a bunch of brush.
Would it be the same thing if there was a storm, they could just call in and request to pick up and then go from there?
I think if it's in the summer months, very much so. Especially if you take away this, the fee part, which is probably a good idea.
Fee covers our costs, the city's costs aren't going down either, so that's part of why I thought of doing that, but I don't think it's gonna be a money raiser in the end, so I don't really care one way or
It's
the
not
other.
gonna be a money raiser. I
Water
mean,
and sewer going up, let's.
So, but I do want it to be a schedule, like you say, because I just want our workers working with the best of their time that they can. I don't want them wasting
Right.
time going around when,
right, no,
One-
I agree.
and also, I think also same with you, I've had plenty of years where my leaves don't get picked up. So I kind of stopped doing it. I just bag them.
Well, I would have hundreds of bags of leaves.
But, yeah, I think the scheduling would be better because some of the months it's just pointless in the summer to have them go around the whole city to go look for it. It'd be better if they call, and whether it's 5 to 14 days, depending on scheduling, I'm fine with that. They can figure out their own schedule and figure out what's the best to do for their schedules and.
I would really like a schedule too, say go down River Street on Tuesday and they saw
Yeah.
the chipper out and then the next person puts theirs out on Wednesday. Well,
Right.
we've been through that part
Yeah,
of the
you're not gonna
city.
come
You
back.
know, and, you take those kind of phone calls also.
Yeah,
So, yeah, to have a schedule and then know from when that resident called, 3 to 5 business days, we'll be there to get it,
yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of
Makes your
black and
life
white.
easier.
Yep.
Says request to approve.
Yeah,
I think sounds like we want to approve it without the fee.
anybody can make a motion on that and
Yep.
then we'll make a decision.
Okay, I make a motion to approve 13D.1 with the subtraction of the $30 fee.
Support.
All right, there's a motion on the table. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, 11E1 is a request to approve accounts payable and payroll.
All right. It is requested that the city council approve accounts payable in the amount of $491,982.62 and payroll in the amount of $124,143.06 for a total disbursement of $616,125.68. Motion to approve.
All right.
Support.
All right, so moved and supported. Is there any questions from council?
Just one, the UB refund is reoccurring. What is that?
So when renters move out of a home in the city, they put a deposit down, they get a refund if their final bill is less than, the money that they had for their deposit, so then they get a refund.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. All in favor to approve accounts payable and payroll, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 11E2 is a request to adopt Resolution 26.13 to approve FY 2026 third quarter budget adjustments.
So this is a periodic budget adjustments that we submit to the council. What is in your packet is the report that we show each quarter. This is the third quarter budget adjustments. We adjusted our budget to increase our revenue by $285,040. We decreased our expenditures by $71,391, as shown on the screen. There's about 5 or 6 attachments that are in the reports that council receives. As we have mentioned before, if council ever wants to dive into all the spreadsheets that the finance department does, we are more than willing to meet with council one-on-one to show you how the sausage is made. We will gladly accept those meetings and show you those numbers, but this is the process we've gone through since the beginning, before my time was here, on how we've done, quarterly adjustments. Any questions for staff?
Yes. If the $213,000 in lost revenue from what was budgeted, what's the main cause of that?
The main cause of that is, as we went through the bonding process for water and sewer, we realized that what was estimated for 2026 was higher than what we're actually going to bring in. So I adjusted that to actual, so I know where we're going to end up at the end of the year.
I see it's all water and sewer is what I see on the spreadsheet there, so we overestimated on the budget. We're just adjusting down. Or we gotta just tell people to use more water.
Well, and that's the thing, with a budget, we're making a guess. So
Sure,
this is pretty typical. You're gonna make adjustments all the time because we're guessing, like payroll's gonna be this and expenditure's gonna be this, and it's gonna be different, give or take, so,
It just seemed a larger amount
yeah.
than,
But like ultimately with a $20 million budget, that's not a lot. So like our household budget, that'd be a ton, right? But with the 20 million, that's 1%. So,
okay.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none. Can I get a motion to adopt Resolution 26.13?
I'll make the motion.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any other comments or questions from council? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 11E3 is a request to schedule a public hearing for May 11th, 2026 to receive public comments on the proposed FY 2027 City of Allegan budget.
Thank you, Mayor. I will begin this process. This evening, you are only scheduling the public hearing on the FY '27 budget. We are looking at this upcoming year at a $32 million budget. This is mostly because we will be spending some significant funding on capital improvement projects in the downtown, as you can see outside the windows right now, as well as in the Rossman Park neighborhood. Our total revenue we're projecting is $29 million. We will be using approximately $2.7 million in fund balances to cover that financing gap. For the first time this year, we've put together what's called a budget snapshot. It's a one-page front and back document that was in your packet that shows more or less the high level of where our revenue streams are and what they're coming from, our expenses and what they are going to. Now, this is our entire budget, not just our general fund. It also explains or shows the City of Allegan at a glance. We have approximately 40 full-time employees, 19 part-time employees, a little more than 5,000 residents, which is pretty much what our population was back 60-some years ago as well. We're still at 4.26 square miles. We have 29 miles of roads, 10 parks, 1 water treatment plant, 1 water resource recovery facility, a police department, a municipal airport, a civic auditorium, and a movie theater that we have to fund and operate with these funds. When you look at the breakdown of where our costs go, over 50% goes to capital projects. 31% goes to operating costs, keeping the lights on at City Hall and the city in general. And then 16% goes to personnel. We are projecting at the end of fiscal year 27 to have a fund balance in our general fund of $2.89 million. Our streets fund will be down to $635,000. When you combine our DDA and Positivity Allegan funds, they will be at $146,000. Our sewer will have a $2 million fund balance. The water fund will be just under $1 million at $998,000. And our motor vehicle pool will be at $514,000, just a little north of $500,000. That next diagram you see of the US dollar bill is something we started about 8 years ago, Tracy and I did in our budget, just trying to explain to the general public of where their tax dollars go. So yes, the City of Allegan processes 100% of a person's property tax bill. However, the city only keeps 36.59% or 36.5 cents of your property taxes. The remaining 64% goes to the schools, the county, the state education fund, and the county library. So we just like to share that in our budget and remind people about the property taxes and what percentage actually stays inside the City of Allegan. The significant projects we are funding for next year is the Rossman Park neighborhood at $7.2 million and some change. The downtown project that we are starting this fiscal year, but we will be finalizing it next fiscal year, is $2.9 million. We will be building a sludge thickening building at the Water Resource Recovery Facility. That's about $2.65 million when it's all said and done. We'll be lining several portions of our sewer mains along Grand, Marshall, and Water Street. We are going to be replacing the water main along Grand Street from River to Main. And then we will be doing a Safe Streets for All plan that's going to evaluate all of our intersections and come up with some conceptual drawings / improvements at various intersections for about $300,000. And that is, essentially the high-level view of our budget. The public hearing will be on May 11th. And then the last meeting, which I believe is May 26th in May, you will be adopting the budget. Per your city charter, you have to adopt your budget the last meeting in May. And then we start on July 1st. Any questions for staff? All right, thank you. We do need a motion to schedule the public hearing. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you already said it was already scheduled, but we haven't passed that yet. So
Correct.
Maybe it won't pass.
Maybe it won't pass.
Could I get a motion to schedule a public hearing for May 11th, 2026?
Motion to schedule a public hearing for May 11th, 2026.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 11E4 is a request for approval of a lot split for parcel 51-305-033-00, known as 233 Hubbard Street.
In the City of Allegan, the City Council has to approve all lot splits or lot combinations at the city council level. The property owner of 223 Hubbard Street would like to split parcel B off from parcel A. So they will be two separate parcels moving forward. Even though they look like two separate buildings from the street view, they are one parcel.
Is there any questions for staff? All right, can I get a motion to approve a lot split for 233 Hubbard Street?
Make that motion to approve the lot split.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any other comments from council? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 11E5 is a request for approval of a lot split for parcel 51-170-103-00, also known as 241 North Sherman Street.
Thank you, Mayor. As with the previous agenda item, this is also a lot split, which city council must approve for it to move forward. The property owner would like to split off parcel A from parcel B.
Any questions for council? No. All right, all those in, oh, sorry, could I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 11E6 is a request to declare various city-owned items as surplus property and direct city staff to sell, donate, or dispose of this property.
Thank you, Mayor. A few times a year, we come to city council with a list of items that the city believes we may be able to get monetary value from if we dispose of them. So on the screen and in the report is a list of items that the city has identified. We no longer have a use for them here at City Hall. However, someone out there in the world might have a use for them and may be willing to pay for them. So we're asking the city council to identify this list as a surplus list, direct staff to sell, donate, or dispose. And we do that in that order. We try to sell them first. If we can't sell them, we try to donate them. If nobody will take them, then we dispose of them. Any questions for staff?
We got a couple. The hot patcher, that's budgeted for 27. That budget still hasn't been approved. Is that being sold before we even have a new hot patcher, or?
Nope. We're just getting it on the list so we can go quick when we're there.
Just making sure. And then
Yes.
the directional drill, we'd use that for lead line service. We just had it repaired last year. What's our plans going forward when we do have to do lead line service replacements?
So our plans are to look at a different type of equipment that will allow us to do that, either a missile or a,
Polar? A lot of times we pull, I've seen some
yes.
do a polling
Jeff, you want to come to
system.
the podium, it's being recorded, you can tell me the exact piece of equipment that you used to use 8 years ago?
Because I know some use like a puller, they'll dig down and they'll just
Yeah,
connect
we
the new pipe
currently
to the
have
old
a pusher box, hydraulic.
Yeah, a hydraulic pusher box is what we have right now.
Yep.
It's what we used before we chose to purchase a directional drill. The directional drill has served its useful life for the city. We did have it repaired last year. It is broken again, and it's at the point where, as the city manager, I'm not comfortable asking city council to continue to put money into this piece of equipment that constantly is breaking on us.
Then the last one is the kitchenette in the Griswold. I know we haven't approved yet any plans at the Griswold. Is that coming out either way and we're just going to be replaced whether we approve or not approve the
Yep,
plan?
this is another project where we have the bid opening is going to be this Friday. We hope May 11th to bring the recommendation for you to hire a contractor to update that area. As part of that update, that kitchenette and the associated appliances will be taken out. And instead of the contractor taking them as scrap or, as spoils, we want to reserve those for ourselves. So having you just clear them surplus right now kind of sets up that process for us.
That's all that I had.
Okay. Any other questions? No? All right, can I get a motion to declare the listed items as surplus property and direct staff to sell, donate, or dispose?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any other comments? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 11E7 is a request to receive an update on the rental registration program for the City of Allegan and direct staff on how to proceed.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm gonna pull up the report real quick. All right. So last year, City Council put together a subcommittee to review the rental registration program and come back with a recommendation on how the city should regulate the rental units. That subcommittee had Mayor Pro Tem Hands on it and Councilmember Will Walker on it, as well as community members Jan Morgan, Caitlin Cortez, and Rachel McKenzie. They met several times over the past 6-7 months. We had a couple breaks here and there as we were dealing with other projects here at City Hall. During those meetings, they discussed the purpose for a rental registration program, the purpose of inspections of only rentals and not owner-occupied houses as well, and the applicability of the city's building and property maintenance code over rental units and owner-occupied. Much discussion occurred, and at the end, the subcommittee felt that as long as the city enforces the city's building and property maintenance code equally, and provides resources for tenants who are experiencing issues with their landlord, those resources could be sharing with them the Michigan Tenant Landlord Guide that is available on the state website. They don't see a need for a rental registration program going forward. So it was a recommendation of that subcommittee to eliminate. Will, Peter, you are on the committee. Anything you want to add amongst the, in addition?
Yeah, I brought this up back, I was the person that started this, going back down this street again, because we had the rental ordinance still on the book. So I said, either we gotta come up and use it, or we gotta get rid of it. And so we went back and forth in the committee, the subcommittee for a long time, and we just finally said, we better just get rid of it. We've gone from redoing the full-fledged program to doing just a registration and an inspection on complaint. And we went back and forth with it, said in the end, we just said, our recommendation was just to get rid of the ordinance and just enforce our building code that already exists for everybody anyways. Hopefully also with the newer software that we are getting, that we'll be able to do a lot more enforcement of that building code. A lot easier for both our police and for our city staff, if I remember right, with the upgrade that we're getting to the BSNA system.
Okay. Well, anything? No? All right.
Then I have more stuff to add.
Okay.
So after this recommendation came from the subcommittee and we put this report together, got it into the packet, we asked our city attorney, Nick Curcio, to help us to start discussing the part of how we provide resources to tenants. One of those resources that was discussed at the subcommittee was if a tenant feels like the landlord isn't making improvements, health and safety improvements to the inside of the building. Like, hey, my water heater is out. You're not fixing my water heater. The subcommittee and staff felt that we could just have the tenant request the property inspection, and our building inspector through PCI could go down there and do the inspection. Our city attorney is recommending that we create an ordinance to establish that authority. So instead of a direct repeal of 7.5, which was attached to your, in your package, attached to this report, they're going to he is recommending that if we want to do that part, to go in and do inspections when it's a tenant complaint, that we finesse, work out how that ordinance would read. And that was the email I got Friday at, 7:03 in the morning after this packet went out on Thursday. So if council's okay with doing away with the rental registration program, it would be staff's recommendation to have us work with the attorney to create that kind of replacement and just reconvene that subcommittee one more time, get it in front of them, and then bring it back to council at a later date.
Yeah.
Because this is new information from our attorney. But I just wanted to make sure council's okay completely walking away from that rental registration.
And then when you do that, will there be verbiage of like, if I make a complaint against my landlord just because I'm mad that my rent was raised or whatever, like who's gonna pay for it? You
Yeah.
know, okay, because we know those things happen, not a ton, but it could happen. And if I was a landlord and I'm constantly having to pay this fee
Yep.
for nothing, you know,
Yeah, that's exactly, the attorney addresses that in the email to me. It just says the ordinance should establish who pays and under what circumstances. Change of tenant to no violation is found will deter legitimate complaints from people, at least able to absorb the cost. The city could consider charging it, the inspection fee to the landlord, at least where there's no pattern of frivolous complaints being made by the tenant. And so I'm interpreting, or I'm envisioning, when we bring the subcommittee back together, doing a Teams meeting with the city attorney, so they can ask questions directly of the city attorney and going that route. Because I think there's some dialogue that has to happen there before we bring a ordinance to council for your review and consideration. And then this will be a two-step process like it is with all ordinances. There's a first reading and then a public hearing. So,
Do you need a motion tonight or just a show of nods or what, of yes, you're on the right path of direction?
either or. I mean, if council wants to give us a motion and say, hey, we redirect staff to look into this further with the goal to get rid of the inspection program altogether, that is, sufficient. But if council feels otherwise, that's also sufficient.
Go ahead.
I mean, it just says receive an update, right? So, I mean, I'm in agreement with developing this ordinance.
I was just reading the direct staff on how to
I know.
proceed on if you wanted a motion or not.
No, we could do a
Correct.
motion,
I
we could just
can read.
repeal it, and it's off the books now, and to replace it, we gotta go through the same two-step, no matter what, to replace it. Just depends on if we want this on the books, or we can just do it all in one foul swoop.
Well, it sounds like you got your direction.
I'm back to meetings.
All right. 13E8, request to appoint Joel Dye and Parker Johnson to serve on the City of Allegan Election Commission.
Okay, this one's pretty straightforward. The City of Allegan, you have an elections commission. Section 4.4 of the city charter states that it should consist of the city clerk, which is Tracy Stahl. It should consist of one appointed officer, which would be your city manager, and I would serve that role, and one qualified registered elector, which would be Parker Johnson, who lives in the city and is a qualified registered elector in the City of Allegan.
All right. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any comments from council?
Just question, who was on the commission last election?
The commission, last election was Joel Dye as the appointed city officer, Parker Johnson as the qualified registered elector, and the clerk at that time was Michaela Kleehammer.
Gotcha.
All right. All right, there's a motion on the table. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 11E9 is a request to authorize the city clerk to sign an easement with Allegan County to allow the placement of a public sidewalk on the county courthouse property.
I will take this one. As city council is well aware, we will be reconstructing North Walnut Street between Trowbridge Street, which is on the right side of the screen, and Hubbard Street, which is on the left side of the screen. As part of this reconstruction, we would like to replace the current parallel parking on the east side of Walnut with angled parking. That would require us to shift the public sidewalk onto the county courthouse property. For us to legally shift that sidewalk, we will need an easement from the county courthouse. Typically, when you do easements, only the grantor has to sign the easement because they're the one giving you permission. The person receiving the easement does not have to sign it. However, the county has requested that the city sign this easement as well. So we are recommending that the county clerk be approved to sign this easement, since the county clerk is the person that's responsible for all official documents from the city. The city clerk, who did I say? Oh, I apologize. Thank you, correction, and thank you, correction.
This means we can expand the social district because we have easements to include it.
You are not incorrect with that.
Is there any questions for staff? All right, can I get a motion to approve the city clerk to sign an easement agreement with Allegan County?
So moved.
So moved and supported. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving down to agenda item number 15 is second public comment of the evening. If you have a public comment, please approach the podium and state your name.
That was great with everybody at once. That was awesome. You all set? Great. My name's Tom Siver. I'm 49 years old, and I'm running to be your next district court judge here in Allegan County. You guys met me about a month ago, and I gave you my experience. I've got 19 and a half years of being an attorney. 13 of it was with my father. He was a Marine. I spent 8.5 years as a city attorney for Greenville up in Michigan, up in Grand Rapids, north of Grand Rapids. It was on a contract basis. I did all of their ordinances, all of their prosecutions for misdemeanors. We ran a great thing there. Went off and I spent 2.5 years on my own. I won the Knoll brothers case. They were accused of wanting to kidnap and kill the governor. Whether you like the case or not, I did my job, and we came out with a victory at the end. I plan on doing the same thing when I get to the bench, is to do my job. What that means is not legislate from the bench. What that means is let you guys make the ordinances, let Lansing make the statutes, and then I apply those the way that you've written them. If I have any questions, I know how to come back to your council and ask questions and say, hey, what did you mean here? Or I can read your legislative intent. So I won't legislate from the bench. I've told you about the 5 programs I plan on running. It's called Go Next. There's GED or jail. There's the Operation Drive, putting non-drunk drivers back into the driver's seat. This is usually parking tickets, speeding tickets, family court cases with child support. We show them how to get their license back with the state. Then we have the expungement clinics. We have night court, which will cut down on our budget and our spend, which allows you guys to have your money back to be able to help the people and the citizens. Then we have the expungement clinic where it's non-drunk driving. We'll be able to help you get a driver's license back. And then we'll run the treatment courts. We are putting together the package so we can bring it out to and roll it out here in the next 2 months, where we have a PowerPoint presentation. We get on your docket and we show you exactly how we plan on doing what we plan on doing and how we plan on funding what we plan on funding. We don't plan on using the county's resources. We plan on using state resources, or we plan on using other resources that are already in play. So once again, my name is Tom Siver. It's spelled like silver without the L. S-I-V as in victory, E-R. If you have questions, I have cards. I can leave them up here at the thing. If you would, please go check me out. I'm not asking you right now to put out yard signs or anything. What I am asking you to do is, though, check me out. If you like who I am, endorse us online. There's a button. Let us know that you'd like to have a yard sign if you'd like one. And then do me the ultimate favor. I learned in college, the voice is powerful. Please help me put our arms around this court and around our community and give the people the services by going out and telling 7 of your family or friends, and let them tell 7, because the voice is powerful. So thank you for your time. I have to go off to Plainwell next. But if you have any questions, please get a hold of me. My phone number's on here, and so is the website. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment for tonight? Seeing none. Moving down to agenda item number 16 is communications from the city manager.
Yep, I have 2 things for council. First of all, this afternoon, I went ahead and I emailed you a email explaining a water service line break that occurred underneath our wastewater recovery facility. It's approximately 8 to 10 feet beneath the ground floor. So that we noticed the leak last week when an employee over there during their morning walkabout to check all the parts and equipment and everything's working, noticed sand and water on the floor, which usually indicates there's a water main break beneath the floor because it's pushing up. They dug a handful of holes in that concrete floor. We had to bring in a dewatering firm Friday, and they had to pump the groundwater and the water that was leaking out all over over the entire weekend. And then this afternoon, they were able to locate the actual broken pipe, and they're in the process of fixing that. This is going to cost a little more money than my authorization is to approve. However, in the city's charter, I'm allowed to make emergency approvals as long as I update council. And that's what this is right now for you. We will be putting together a total cost of expenditures over the next few days, and then you'll get a separate email from me highlighting all the costs that we spent to take care of this emergency issue. Any questions regarding that? All right, moving on to,
Does the treatment plant have a smart meter on it that could notify us when we have an increased usage? Just a question, because
Yeah.
we do have them and we do have that capability
Yep.
on our water meter.
I don't know off the top of my head. I will dive into that and see what I can find.
Just if we have a typical amount
I
of use,
think Chad has something too.
like, I don't know if that one's metered.
The
or
meter
not.
was removed, so I think the break was pre-meter, but very close. So,
Just something like, we can put notifications on different city assets. If it goes high, then
Yeah.
we'll know maybe there's a leak.
Yep. And this was a water service line, so it was a loop coming in that comes into the building and shoots out to all of our outbuildings out at that facility. Second item, Rick Day has resigned from the Allegan Fire District Board. I received this email on Thursday afternoon at 4:27. Just a reminder, the fire district is established this way. The City of Allegan appoints 2 individuals. Rick was one of our 2. The other one is Councilmember Walker. The township appoints 2 individuals, and then that board of 4 appoints their 5th one, and that one is John Cook. We need to make an appointment to that board. I would like direction from council on how you would like to make that appointment. They have to be a city resident to be on that board as our appointment. We struggle to get appointments for other boards we have, such as Planning Commission or Public Spaces. So my question for council is, do you want us to put a text message out, social media posts we could do through our social media channels? Do you know anybody that you think might do a good serving for us, represent the city on that board? Will, you're the one that's on it right now. Do you have any suggestions?
I don't, but I like the idea of applications.
Okay. Would you like to have the applications set up in such a way that they come to the council for would you like the full council to review the applications and make a motion, a decision at your May 11th meeting? Or would you like to have a subcommittee review them, and that subcommittee makes an appointment?
Is it the council that makes the appointment or the mayor on this one? Because typically it's the mayor that makes appointments to all of our subcommittees. So
Correct, but this is not a subcommittee. I think this has to be a council appointment.
I know we have to approve it in the end, but I don't know if she makes the initial recommendation or.
I can go ahead and I will look into the fire district rules. Because it's a separate authority. It's not it's not a city council subcommittee like our other ones that we make appointments to.
I agree with Will, though. I would rather put it out there to the public, that
Yeah.
there is an opening, and whether that's text message, all of the things maybe.
Yeah, I'm fine with taking in applications. I just making sure we follow the rules, how it's set up, if it's the mayor that has to make the final say on it. And if she wants to bring the rest of the council in to have a say, or if it's, she makes the, how it's just the procedure.
Well, when Will was appointed, it was just Joel. So, good point, Peter. Yeah, so maybe we better look into this.
Just to double check. And then, yeah, we can put out for applications, because either way, somebody's got to be looking at the applications, whether it's the mayor, the whole council, or how
Yeah,
Very good point, Peter.
if I can, just, Joel had mentioned a couple of other boards. Public Spaces Commission does not have any vacancies. However, Planning Commission, like you mentioned, and the Airport Advisory Board also has a vacancy, at least one. So in the past, we've put out on our social media and through our different publications where we're, accepting applications, which is always the case, but every so often we'll put out a blurb that we've got seats that need to be filled. So we can do that with this newest vacancy on the Fire District Board, as well as Planning Commission and Airport Advisory.
make up some
Yeah.
nice language to go on it, like,
Yeah.
come enjoy the wonderful time on Planning Commission where you get to do,
Yeah,
we can feed it through AI.
Fluff it up,
And fluff
yeah.
it up a little,
Were we still looking into reducing that planning commission down to 7 versus the 9?
So that's the discussion the planning commission is having right now.
Okay, yes, I'm on that. I haven't had a meeting though, because it was canceled.
Correct, so yeah, that's a discussion, and just to let council know, there is one planning commissioner who sees that as a total power grab by the city council, wanting to have,
Right.
more people on it
Have a
that are
guess.
council-related and they're citizen-related, so
on
that's why I
planning.
responded, we can discuss this at your next upcoming meeting.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Joel?
I had just had one, now I forgot what it was. Never mind, I forgot the question.
Maybe it'll come to you when you have.
I remember, is there a time frame that you need to get, because it's such a small board, and then also, is there, like, specific people that they're looking for? Like Rick Day was a former, wasn't he the former chief or the,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
someone who has working knowledge, is
Yep.
that what we're looking for? or
I
does it
I do
matter?
not know, all I know is I got that email Thursday afternoon, I replied, I copied the chairperson, John Cook, on it, said, Rick, thank you for your service. John, let me know how you want to, go forward with this, and I haven't heard back from that, so.
All right, moving down to number 17, roundtable discussion from council and mayor. Councilperson Westover?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm all set.
All right, Councilperson Walker.
I'm all set as well.
Okay, Councilperson Canales?
Nothing today.
Councilperson Hooker?
I have two things. First, I want to thank everybody that came out for the Arbor Day tree planting. That was a pretty neat little ceremony. And then to let everybody know that our next chat with council is May 22nd, which is a Friday, in the morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Trowbridge Park. So we're hoping for good weather, and we'll just be in the park, so please come down and chat with us.
And Mayor Pro Tem Hance.
Nothing for me.
All right, and there is nothing for me, so I will adjourn at 7:03.